It's my pleasure having you here, and thank you for clicking to this video. I'm grateful. Thank you so much. I want to welcome you to this particular exposition. I want to look at the most foolish tribes in Nigeria. Now, by the time we're through, you will understand what we mean by the foolish tribes in Nigeria, because the truth about it is that whenever you are looking at a people, and especially when they keep doing the same thing, repeating the mistakes of history, it tends to make you wonder the kind of people they are and how they reason. And basically here, I want to open your minds to some basic things that you have to understand and that we need to look at together so that we can reason along the line. And if you agree with me, you can post your comments or your thoughts right there too. And if you don't agree with me, also post your comments and all of that. And also, please like this video and share on all your social media platforms. It is very, very important that whenever you like a platform where truth is established or preached about, you are actually expanding the ability for us to reach other people. And also, when you now subscribe continually, you're going to have us, at all times, and you will also help us to expand and reach out to more people at the same time also. And of course, please also share it on all your social media platforms, because when you share, you help us also to reach to more people. Now, I want to point out the most foolish tribes. Now, I didn't say the most foolish tribe, I said the most foolish tribes. Now, in my calculation and in my own design here, the things I'm going to be talking about would actually be relevant or would actually point to people individually, because here when it comes to Nigeria, when you want to talk about things that concerns Nigerians, sometimes you have to be specific to those you are addressing, because since Nigeria is not a nation or a country, based on the fact that it is put together not for those purposes, but put together to see how they can administer their colonial programs and steal from the people. And they actually established a central governance point where they could control each of the regions or the tribes of the peoples of different nations that are jumbled in that contraption called Nigeria. So the essence is to keep the people subjugated and held bound by their business name or by their business or their company that is called Nigeria, which is meant to take the resources of the people, take the natural resources and the human resources. Remember, most of our brilliant people are taken abroad, developing other nations of the world. Those ones who cannot go abroad are here languishing, no opportunities, nothing provided for them, and so they have to be here to suffer. And some of them die of depression, some of them die of hunger, some of them die of bitterness, some of them commit suicide. So many things happening to our people. And from my initial broadcast, I told you that these kinds of actions, the causes of these kinds of actions is because we had ancestors who sold us to their slave masters, and for nothing, just for nothing, stipends, almost nothing, they sold us out. And so we that are in this generation don't want to repeat those mistakes. And so for us to be able to achieve that, based on the complexities of this generation and the things happening right now, we must point out and we must make sure that we keep teaching, at the same time taking actions against those people who are standing against the cause of clear good conscience and doing the right thing. Now, I will begin with the people who are educated. The first kinds of people, or the tribes, the most foolish tribes that has the most foolish people in the contraption called Nigeria, are the tribes that claim to be very educated in Western values. Claim to be very educated in Western values. Now, what do I mean? As you all know, our educational system in Africa, let me streamline it to the Nigerian narrative now. The educational system is fully designed with the components of the Western program, fully packaged in line with Western expectation. So what our children go to school to learn from childhood, whenever, let's say from the time to the kindergarten to the nursery and all of that, what is transferred into them is the values of the West. And when they tell you to recite the national anthem, the anthem is to sustain the colonial program called Nigeria. So people give their consent and people give their, loyalty to the Western product called Nigeria, which is a proxy to Western control. So whenever we go to school, we are taught the Western ways, we are taught the things that the Western people want us to know. We are not taught about our history, which should be more fundamental, an approach to us being a more educated, because from our history, we will be more educated. But some of us think that being educated is about learning mathematics, biology, and all of these things that you learn. No, you're only gaining knowledge about some things around you, which is part of education. But basically, the intellectual side of you is not triggered by those narratives if you keep on with the Western strategy of education. Because the Western strategy of education keeps your intellectual side dormant. How? It does not favor history. Now, for education to be maximal and to be strong and to be impactful, history must be very, very important to the plan. History is sacrosanct to intellectual operations and educational programs. If history is taken away, the people are going to learn some things that are put there as stereotype or as stational or as routines, where they come to recite 2 times 1 or recite some stuff or store up in their brains some formulas, whether in mathematics or in other subjects, in chemistry or whatever, and they store up this information, and so they act like robots. They get these calculations or these formulas and just carry out calculations by questions that are posed. Now the questions that are posed are not relevant to their daily lives. They are not relevant to their daily lives. How many of our science students have really done some critical things in the world just being in Africa? How many of them? How many of our political, those ones who studied political science have been able to establish a political system that will work for our people indigenously, aside still carrying out the political strategy of the West? How many of them? So you see, because history has been taken away, our people tend to learn the chaff, understand the chaff, rather than getting the full details of these things which connects with history. Now, let me tell you what history does. It takes you to the details of your past, of what your fathers did and all of that. The mistakes, the strength, the shortcomings, the progresses, the retrogression, the everything that happened in the past. Now, when history is learned, these things become open to you, and so it stirs up your intellectual side to begin to know how to apply each of the lessons that had gone by, or the things of history that are now a lesson to you in the present world. So when you are calculating your mathematics, for instance, you are learning mathematics in school, you are learning to calculate, but at the same time also understanding history so that you'll be able to calculate rightly in the current situation that you have found yourself. When you are applying your chemistry formulas and all of that, applying any other thing that you have learned, you are looking at historical facts and learning how to apply these historical facts to the things that you have taken as career today, so that they can be effective to the progress of your nation. For instance, if you look at America and other nations that really talk about their history, for instance, let's look at China. as at the 60s, China was very poor. In fact, China was getting loans from the contraption called Nigeria. But China understood their history. They understood they were under the colonial masters. They understood the things that kept them under the colonial masters. They understood the things that every Chinese is being taught. The details of what kept them in the past, what they went through, the things that kept them down, the things they need to do now so that they will be able to overcome the situation of the past. So when they are learning in their school, whether physics, chemistry, or any other subject, they are learning how to apply it to the failures and the successes of the past so that they will be able to fix their lives now for the future. Now, let me tell you something. History is basic to the now because it contains experience which teaches wisdom. So that is why in the contraption Nigeria today, you have the most people who are foolish amongst those who are called educated. You know why? Their education is baseless. Their education is floating, doesn't have a base. Every education has its base in history. That means in the knowledge of your past and your current situation. So whenever you are learning a thing and you don't have the basis to which you should apply the knowledge you are gaining, you tend to be confused about the usage of the knowledge. And so what you do is that you abuse the knowledge. What do we have today in the contraption called Nigeria? People gain knowledge from schools. They go to the universities, they go to the primary, they go to the secondary, they get some knowledge. They bring that when they get those knowledge, they come out of school, they become confused. All they're looking for is job where they're going to work and make money. Because the Western education teaches you to just be a slave and to be subject to other people. Just come out of school and look for the big jobs in the oil companies or in the banks and then work and make money. That is what you are taught to understand. Because there is no substance to it. There is no knowledge of the past. If my past is this way, if I have gone through this and my ancestors have gone through this, now that I have gained this particular knowledge, how do I apply this knowledge to fix the past so that we don't remain in the situation we're in? That was why China was able to succeed. That is why China is the second economy today, if not the first. You know, literally looking at it critically, you discover that it's actually the first because it has gone where other nations couldn't go. It has taken, even in Africa, it is taking the over the economies because they have deep-rooted knowledge of their history and they knew how to apply the knowledge they are gaining now to dealing with historical facts and fixing the errors of the past of history. But what do you do with the knowledge you gain academically in Nigeria? All you do is to look for money. And you can never be knowledgeable when money is your first priority. That's why scripture says the love of money is the root of all evil. Because what the academic stuff you are learning today or the academic knowledge you are gaining is actually putting into you right now is to teach you how to love money. That's why our people are no more concerned about lives. They are ready to destroy lives for money. Because there's no knowledge about how the value of life in the past, the things that made value to drop, the things that destroyed our system and our lifestyle, our culture and all those values, the things that caused us to lose our guards and allow the colonizers to take over our territories. So there's no value for life. They think life is about just making money and enjoying themselves. So we have the foolish tribes, the most foolish tribes. And when I talk about tribes, I mean cutting across all tribes. All they think about is money. And because their education is not having a base in history, we tend to even destroy ourselves. Now, let me tell you the repercussion. Let me tell you the things that have happened that are evidences that we have destroyed ourselves. One, check out those who argue and want to hold on to Nigeria, in spite of the fact that they are knowledgeable that Nigeria is a British program. They know that the real reason Now, a normal human being or a reasonable person, somebody who is intellectual, sorry, will know that before you patronize anything, you must know why that thing is. Before you go to market and buy anything, you must know what that thing works for, right? You don't just go to market and buy anything without knowing why you're buying it or what it works for. If you go to market today and you want to buy, let's say, power bank, for instance, you know that this power bank, the reason why I'm buying it is because it's going to take care of my phone not going off. So it's the knowledge that you gain from that fact that makes you understand that this is why I'm going to spend this amount to buy this. So it is of value. Now, why would people know that the British gave us a name and called us Nigerians? Not because we are Nigerians, but because we were conquered. And to sustain that conquest, they needed to set up the administrative program that will help them control our economy, the economy of the indigenous nations, and then take the resources of the people, and then also control the people so that they would be handicapped. They would not have the capacity to manage themselves and their resources. So they put that center in a particular part of one of the lands within that contraption called Nigeria, which is Abuja today, or formerly Lagos, now Abuja. Now they put it there, hold you bound politically in Abuja, hold you bound economically in Lagos, because Lagos is the commercial capital. Abuja is a political capital. So they hold you bound economically and politically. They destabilize the political narrative in the other places, in the other tribes, like the Igbo tribes, like the Hausa tribes. I say tribes because there are many, tribes, that are involved in all of this stuff. The Igbos, for instance, we call everybody who is under that territory Igbo because it is actually a fundamental name for everybody. Even the British and everybody call them Igbos. Even when the Hausas or the Fôõlishness and their terrorists want to kill, they say the Nyamiri, they call them, all of them, they call them Igbos. So anybody from that territory is called an Igbo. Now, they put us in that particular situation and they grade us that way. Now, what they did is this. They take our control of our ability, like we used to do in Biafra land, the ability to control ourselves in a republican way or quasi-democratic structure that we had. They take it from us and they neutralize our hierarchy, the hierarchy of our system, neutralize them, put people who will control us in those places as the governors, and then give the power of these governors in the hands of those ones in the political side in Abuja. And then they seize our critical economic points, like the sea, talking about the harbor, or and the air. They don't give you international airports. Even when they give you, they try to hold it down. And everything that has to do with economy, they seize our capability to handle those stuff and then take it down to Lagos, where they know they can hold everybody down. And so when they put it in Lagos there, putting it in Lagos there, they hold us bound because we must come from our land to another land, rather, and forcefully we must come down, leave our land and come down to another land. And that destabilizes our land, because as we leave our land, our land is suffering. And then they put us at loggerheads with the people whom they have put in their land, that economic power. That is the Yorubas. Now, continually we keep fighting. There's this struggle, there's this competition, there is this acrimony. The Igbos are coming to take our resources in Lagos. They know that the Igbos are very industrious, they are very hardworking, they have this virtue of business, and they know that the Yorubas are always people who, they want to just enjoy themselves and just have the average job done, in their own way. They are not rigorous as the Igbos. They know the disparity, and so what they do is they move the industry from that place where they know that the people are very industrious and very hardworking in all of these business things, and they bring it down to Lagos. They force them down to Lagos. They come to live in Lagos. They know that this other tribe, the Yorubas, are also very jealous of their own things and their own land and all of that. And so they now would use that jealousy, would translate to bitterness and anger. So they bring us loggerheads. And those who claim to be educated are still the people who are in this trap. But because we don't look deeply into history and we have been locked up in our mindset, we don't understand these details. Now, I'm going to stop here because I don't want this video to be long, because I'm going to continue this narrative in the next video. I'm going to just give more details about the most foolish tribes in Nigeria. And I'm going to tell you more things that will open your mind to understand what we mean by the most foolish tribes, because it cuts across all the tribes. But there are basic tribes that have this claim of being very educated, more educated than others. But education is not restricted to academic knowledge alone. Academic knowledge is only an aspect, a very small aspect of it. There is the most of it that we have neglected, and so that has caused us to be very foolish in our approach and in the things we do. And we must take cognizance that except we begin to mend these whole things and cause ourselves to begin to do the right thing, we will continue to be slaves to the British. Thank you so much. Please share this video, subscribe to this channel if you have not subscribed. Please lay your comment, and as you lay your comment and subscribe, I'm also going to respond to your comment, and then and then we move on from there. Thank you so much. Let this week be a blessing to you. Enjoy the rest of the week, and God bless you really good.
You got